Color is emotion. Feeling. Intuition. A tool to convey meaning. Consciously. And unconsciously. A man looks in a mirror, lies down near a TV, stands in a sunlit room, drives a car, looks at a book. We have no context or explanation for these scenes, yet we've hinted at a feeling or emotion behind them using colour, guided by intuition, but explained with a minimal amount of theory. Breaking away from basic theory, and even the image itself, we're left with the essence of the feelings colour can convey. Colour itself can mean many things to many people, and emotional responses and judgments toward certain colours can be dependent on culture, life experience, and universal connections to colour. With this in mind, using colour in our work can not only be based on generally accepted theories toward colour, but also our own learned responses to colour.
We focused on lighting the sadder scenes green as it's representative of what green reminds me of in my own life, and I feel very close to this character.
Or even our characters' learned responses to colour.
And he was there watching, hiding under that stupid fucking cap.
On another level, colour can be used based on our own intuition. If it feels right, it's right. However we arrive at the decision to use a particular colour in our work, utilising it in ways honest to ourselves and the story we're trying to tell, can go a long way to imbuing our images with the emotion we want our audience to feel. To light the red-toned bathroom scene, we started with a PavoTube 15C2, set to a red hue and directed at the back wall. We then used a boom arm, PavoSlim 120C attached, softbox extended, and grid in place for a controlled pool of light. We set this to the bad bulb effect, also in a red hue, with the parameters tweaked to the intended look. This was raised above where our character stood and reorientated, so we had a good amount of light reflected from the mirror and onto his face. The light on the back wall helps our image to not fall into total darkness when the bad bulb effect on our key light goes to minimal brightness. For the scene lit by the blue light of a TV, we again used a Pavoslim 120C on a baby stand, angled down, softbox extended and grid attached. This was set to the TV flicker effect, with our preferred dimming range, speed, and blue hue. The light was placed to the left and slightly above our character, emulating the glow and flicker of a TV. The blue hue we decided to use, setting the mood of the image. We also used a second Pavoslim 120C with softbox and grid, bounced from the ceiling, set to an orange hue. This adds a touch of warmer fill light into our shadows, which blends with our third light, a Pavobulb 10C, placed in a practical lampshade in the scene, also set to an orange hue. This brings two complementary colours into the image, leading into the following orange-toned scene. We used just one fixture to light this scene. After attaching some grey sheer curtains in between our existing curtains, we used a Nanlite Forza 60C with its compatible FL11 Fresnel set to flood, raised up, and shot through the window, blinds and shears. And with the colour temperature set to an extremely warm 2500 Kelvin, we create the look of an early morning or late evening sun, partially silhouetting our character. A fog machine was also used and dispersed into a haze, lowering the contrast in the scene and showing our sunlight shining through the blinds. In the green-toned car shot, we used a light camera setup on a suction mount to film from the hood of the car, and we taped a Pavotube 15C2 near the dash, aimed partially down so as to not blind the driver, which also provided a little extra bounce light from the interior surfaces. We set the Pavotube to a slightly warmer hue than the ambient streetlights, and in the colour grade, pushed the image toward green. The slightly warmer light from the tube allowed us to maintain some warmth in the skin whilst pushing the overall image toward green. The shot of our character looking at the yellow book was simply shot with natural light. This came from the window to the left, with a 4x4 negative floppy flag blocking light on the right, helping to shape the existing light on the face. For the close-up of the book itself, we shape this light further, closing more of the curtain by the window and adding some more black material behind camera. This helped to keep the light in the room and on the book from getting too flat, helping the already saturated yellow to stand out even further. While there are objective ways to mix and combine colour for effect, the usage of colour itself can often depend on your own preferences and feelings towards certain hues, and how those feelings align with the story you're trying to tell with an image. Strictly adhering to the generalized connotations of colour isn't always going to be the best way to tell your story. You may need to balance it with your own subjectivity or intuition to stay true to your ideas, direction, and creative process.